Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the WSBA here on our Wolverine Studios Twitch channel. We're excited to be back. It's a little bit of an unusual stream for us, being on Friday night instead of our usual Wednesday nights, but we had some circumstances that caused that to happen this week. Next week, we should be back at Wednesday at our normal time. As always, I'd like to begin by thanking all of our followers to the channel. We've got a couple of new followers recently, so thank you guys for that. And of course, huge shout out, huge thanks to our subscribers who help support our efforts on the channel. And we're ready to have a great stream. We've got the 1st of March here in our association, which means with the playoffs beginning mid-April, we've got three streams left of the regular season. So taking a quick look around the standings before we start up again here, we see out east, Chicago, 51 wins leading the East. Atlanta hanging on to the 8th spot with 31 wins. You know, we've got 63 games in here, so we've got roughly under 20 games to go, only a month and a half to go. The playoff brackets are looking pretty set, I think. Miami, Detroit maybe with an outside chance to score that last spot, but I don't know about that. Even Boston with their injuries looks like they'll hang on to their playoff spot. Out west, it's OKC and Golden State, the top two guys. Again, Minnesota outside chance maybe of sneaking in there. Houston, has been questionable over the course of the year. Portland and Memphis have both been solid enough where they should hold on to those playoff spots. So I don't know how much playoff drama we have for the final spots coming down the last three streams here, last three sims. But we'll see. It should be at least jockeying for position inside of the conferences here should be interesting as teams try to avoid Chicago and OKC as long as they possibly can. Brooklyn and Jedi in the chat. Good to see you guys. I know it's an off night, so thanks for stopping by here. But I wanted to get the stream going this week, so got to get it in when we can. All right, four games to kick off the month of March here. Toronto at Golden State. That ought to be a very interesting one. We'll see. We'll see what happens there. Charlotte with the upset of Denver there. Charlotte ruining their tanking chances. Golden State over Toronto in a low-scoring game. That two teams who possibly could end up with a shot at the finals there. So that was a big win, I think, for Golden State. Toronto, of course, trying for that 2 spot out east. That was a tough loss for them. Different names up on the best performers list. Chris Phillips, Sean Jepson, Trey Kincaid. I haven't seen those guys up there, so some surprise performances there. A nice slate of games here on Friday, March the 2nd. Boston gets pummeled there by Utah. Brooklyn with a win. There you go. OKC, no surprise over New York. Chicago, another win over Indy. Washington, big win over Atlanta. Jerry Riggs, a big game for Dallas. And Miami cannot capitalize on Atlanta's loss there. And Milwaukee, Sean Foreman again. Portland, we've talked about Portland a couple of times, especially during the All-Star game, how bipolar that team seems to be. One day they're great, one day they're just terrible. So if they get hot, Portland could cause some damage. GM Games, Chris, thanks for the kind words. It's good to be back streaming. Sorry that your team took a loss in the first night here. I'll pull that up for you. Tough loss to Golden State there. Foreman leads the night on the second with 38, Riggs 36, Greer 36. There's our usual suspects: Foreman, Riggs, Greer, Hopper, and Migley, who was the All-Star Game MVP. Six games here to go on the third. Cleveland with Marvin McDonald hands Denver another loss. Houston, Charlotte finally rights their ship and loses. Atlanta gets blown out again. Atlanta is doing their best to give up that spot. Philly over Golden State, another key matchup there. Golden State's had a big sim here. They've had Toronto and Philly. And Sophisticated Films is saying Fife from LA is going to be a breakout star next year. Barrett poured in 40 for you, Jedi, but it wasn't enough. Not that Denver's in the hunt for the playoffs anyway, so maybe that's helpful. Sean Roberts from OKC, WSBA Player of the Week. And OKC gets Boston here. Well, this nice game here. Chicago travels to Brooklyn. Brooklyn, capable team. We'll see what they can do here. Huge game for Miami as well as they go to Washington, trying to stay in that playoff race. All right, OKC with a 20-point win over Boston. Chicago blows out Brooklyn. Sorry, Brooklyn. Detroit with a win there. San Antonio. Miami keeps their playoffs hopes alive. They're not going to go away yet. Atlanta better start winning some games. No surprise, Orlando loses again. Getting tired of saying Orlando loses again. Battle of LA goes to the Commodores. Toronto, rough start here this week on the sim. Kid Coffee Black. You didn't miss too much. Nothing huge has happened. Let's see. Riggs with 33. Logan with 32. Shada on top of the assist board again. All right, Monday the 5th, 3. Atlanta better win this one. If Atlanta can't beat Charlotte, maybe they don't deserve to make the playoffs. And they do. Denver, there's Barrett. Big game out of him. And Toronto gets a W over Utah. Utah's a good team. That's a good win for Toronto there. Good win, Chris. Hey, Pushman, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. Barrett with 36, Foreman 32. Barrett had a nice game, 36 and 10. Good building piece for Jedi and the Peaks going forward. Maybe him with a couple of young guys build around him. Might have something in Denver. Chicago, 54th victory of the season. Boston finally gets a win over lowly Indy. Washington with a triple-double out of Hopper. Memphis blows out Orlando. Orlando's playing for the lottery now. Portland with a win. Golden State gets to 50 wins. LA over Brooklyn. Brooklyn is struggling right now. Brooklyn still got time to right the ship, though. Let's see, Jeremy Spruill. There you go. Memphis, 44 out of him. Chambers with 37. Chambers got hot off the bench in the All-Star game. He had 12 assists as well. And, of course, the triple-double out of Hopper for Washington there. Wednesday the 7th. Detroit with another win over Philly. Detroit's not going down without a fight. Miami hanging around. Riggs, another big game as they beat Denver. Brooklyn's coach he's out the door. We could have our first coach firing. Brooklyn went all in on offense, and there's just no defense to be found. Logan with 39. Shada Sambatashvili with 38. Riggs 37. Nice scoring output there on the night. We've got through a week here. We're halfway through our sim for the night, so we'll do a quick save here. And let's take an updated look at the standings as we inch closer to the playoffs. See if any of our races have changed here. In the East, Washington closing in on Toronto. It's going to be those two, Toronto and Washington, for 2 and 3 there. Looks like Philly's got a chance to pass Boston. Brooklyn should have a chance to pass Boston as well if they can get anything going. Atlanta holding on to a 2-game lead over Miami, and Detroit's not given up yet. Everybody else, Orlando, Cleveland, New York, Indy, Charlotte, headed for the lottery. Out west, Minnesota, 3 back of Houston. Nothing's changed anywhere there. Brooklyn, I got to blame your coach then. It wasn't your fault. You brought in defensive acquisitions. It's just the coach. It's got to be the coach. Always blame the coach. All right, let's see if I can get lucky and beat Chicago here. I doubt that. Memphis and Portland will be a good game. Both those teams need victories. And Brooklyn at Golden State, another big game. We got some good games here on the 8th. Boston, surprise win over Milwaukee. Wow, look at that. Orlando, 113-95. Where has that team been all year? Portland with a win. Golden State keeps rolling. Lee Taylor, big game out of him. There's Fife. He had 15-6, 4-4. Where has my Orlando team been all year that could beat Chicago? Can't beat anybody else, but we can beat Chicago. Foreman with 42. There's DeLea, 32 for Brooklyn. Shane Jackson gets on the board for me with 30, and Chambers 30 and 14. Chambers, I think Chambers is better than maybe we've talked about. You know, I think that Brandon Chambers has maybe been a little bit of an unsung player. He's averaging almost 27 and 9 a game, so he's got Portland rolling right now. All right, here we got Washington and Boston. That'll be a big game. Miami needs that one against New York. Utah and New Orleans, good positioning matchup there. And Brooklyn desperately needs a win here. Let's see. Washington blows out Boston. Charlotte loses again, no surprise. Miami gets that win they need. Nothing going on for Barrett that night. For Denver, Utah, big win led by Migley. And Brooklyn squeaks one out. Squeaks one out against the Commodores. But Brooklyn will take any wins they can get right now, right? A win is a win. And that was a road win, so that was a good one. DeLea had 30 for Brooklyn. William Hassel 30 in a losing effort for the Wasps. Ronaldo Kittle's hitting the board with 21. All right, Saturday, March 10th. Toronto's back in action. Philly, Toronto need wins. Atlanta needs a win to stay on there. Miami and Chicago. Let's see. Philly, almost 150 points. Big offensive output. Toronto in a hugely low-scoring game gets the win. Milwaukee upsets Golden State. Atlanta pulls to 500, keeps in the driver's seat there. Bad loss for Miami there. They needed that one. Memphis struggling a little bit here. Hey Breeze, welcome to the stream. Good to see you. Yeah, that's Chris says Toronto playing that Pistons championship style basketball. That's exactly what I thought of. I remember those days where you had Ben and Chauncey and Sheed and teams, first one to 70 wins. was great basketball. Great basketball days. Don't worry, Kid Coffee. Memphis is still hanging in there, I think. We'll check the standings here. Memphis at 7 seed right now. Still 2 ahead of, or 1 game ahead of Houston. But got breathing room over Minnesota. And nothing much changing here on the east side either. We'll save it as we head into the final couple of days of this sim. Boston is only a game ahead of Philly now for that 4-5 matchup to determine home court. That's going to be an important one. It plays out here in the last month of the season now, as we are just about a month off from the playoffs now. And Washington should have a, well, I guess I won't say that. They've got to host OKC, but Boston goes to Chicago. And Jerry Riggs, WSBA Player of the Week, no surprise there. We've seen him at the top of the scoring a bunch of times here during this stream. Chicago gets the 56 wins. Orlando, victory over Charlotte, big deal. OKC stops Washington. Portland, another huge game out of Brendan Chambers. There's Nashawn Fife again. There's that man again. Brooklyn with a big win there over Sacramento, too. Matt Metcalf with 32 leads the night in that big Brooklyn win. Keith Oliver also 26 for Brooklyn. Chicago had their big guns, Greer and London. That's a new one. He's not usually up there, I don't think. 27 points for him. Ooh, big time game here. Washington traveling to Philly, and Golden State with a rematch against Toronto. Miami, almost a must-win game here probably for Miami. At Milwaukee and Atlanta, a big game for them too. I like how we've got some important games coming down the stretch here. Washington, Hopper comes through for them. Toronto gets the job done at home to hold off Washington. Miami gets that big win, and Atlanta suffers a loss. It's not over. Man, Memphis is struggling. And Riggs with another big game. Jerry Riggs has scored 2,000 points this season. That's a pretty huge milestone, 2,000 points in one season. So Riggs looking for the scoring title this year. He keeps putting up 38 and 36s and 30s and stuff like that. He might just end up with it. Ron Kennedy, our favorite name from Toronto, should be Ron Canada. 36. There's Nashawn Fife with 34. That looks like it was a good call back in the stream there about Fife for next season. Could be on the verge of a breakout there, even though Los Angeles isn't very good. All right, 6 games here. Ooh, Memphis has got to play OKC. Yikes. Maybe they'll turn it around this game. We'll see. Charlotte gets a victory over New York. Orlando, that's fine. I can lose. Marvin McDonald leads Cleveland to another win. Memphis loses, but Danny Brum has blocked 150 shots this season. He hits a milestone. I'm sure that's kind of an empty milestone today. But still a good sign for Danny Brum in Memphis. Shada with 36. I mean, OKC is just so deep. Riggs up there with 28 again. Chambers, 14 assists. John Watkins, he was an all-star somehow from New York. It's kind of an interesting selection. He had good numbers, but New York's just been bad. And Danny Brum, 8 blocks in that game to hit his season milestone. Wednesday the 14th. Here we go. Let's see. Ooh, Washington at Brooklyn. That'll be a nice one. Toronto at Philly. That's a big game. Miami has to play Chicago again. Rough schedule stretch here for Miami. But at the same time, Atlanta's got OKC. Boston easily wins there. There's the offense on Brooklyn that they've been waiting for. Toronto looking for that low-scoring win, but they forgot to stop the other team. And Miami upset Chicago. Chicago proven they're vulnerable this sim as they lose to sub-500 teams. Miami and Orlando. Josh Gray seriously injured for the Commodores. That's going to be a tough blow to them and their playoff hopes with a broken arm. Turner 45 for New Orleans. Hopper 15 assists. Justin Brown 17 boards. We'll have to check out that injury to Gray after our final day of the sim here. Memphis, one last chance to get a victory here on this at the end of the stream here. And Danny Brum gets his 1,000th rebound this season, but another Memphis loss. And another Portland win. Portland's gotten hot. Portland might be a problem here in the playoffs. All right, we've made it through this sim. Let's go take a look around the league. Really quick, we'll check out that injury. We'll check out the leaders. And we'll check out the standings. So we've got just over a month to go now to the playoffs. The playoffs start April 14th, I think. So the next stream will take us through March, and then the final one will take us up to the playoffs. Injury report. Let's see anything new. Ooh, Larry Britton. He tore his MCL for Brooklyn. He was averaging 12 a game with 5 boards. Almost a steal a game as well. So that is a very tough break, as he was a starter most of the season. Went to a bench role there in February, and now he is done for the year. That's a tough break for Brooklyn. Keith Oliver, a sore back, but it's only 3 days. Marvin McDonald has the flu now, but he will only miss 1 more day. Jerry Riggs, sore knee. Not that Dallas is in the hunt for everything. Oh, Ross Barrett, sprained wrist. He's got 2 more days to go there. So now we understand why the Brooklyn defense has been struggling this sim, as he got injured right at the beginning of the sim here. Houston, Jason May. There's Josh Gray, broken arm. He's going to miss over 2 months. That's probably going to do it for his season. I don't think LA is going to make a run that deep. So he, especially without him, he averages 15.5 and 14.2 boards per game with over a block and steal. He is a paint dominator, and he is a cleanup man, and LA is going to miss him desperately. That's a tough blow for them. Let's see, anything else that's new and terrible? We're looking for terrible injuries. Nothing too bad. Todd Gravitt, about a week and a half from a sprained toe, still to go for Toronto. And Bravo says he hopes. Who are we talking about? Gray or somebody else. He hopes he has COVID. We did not implement COVID in the game, just for anybody who's new to the stream or new to the game. COVID is not part of the game. Oh, Marvin. He wants his own guy to have COVID. Wow. Man, it's got to be rough to be Marvin McDonald. Cleveland's a rough town. Now I'm waiting for somebody who watches the stream to ask me to implement COVID as a thing next season in the game. Sean Foreman is still our league leader in points. The only reason Riggs has passed him in total points is because Foreman spent some time injured earlier in the season. Chambers is up there. How did Chambers not... Well, I guess Shada Sambatashvili was the all-star starter. But Chambers definitely was deserving. I'm telling you, Portland, I think, is going to cause some problems in the playoffs. Migley, Hopper, DeLea, Stackhouse, even though he's done for the year at 26.5. Our assist leader, James Warren, the walking triple-double. Look at Chambers. He's right there. Shada, third place. Darren Lay, we haven't talked about him at all, from Utah. Mike Puckett from Orlando. I guess at least my team was good for something. Rebounds per game. Danny Brum, of course, our league leader. Josh Gray was the second leader in rebounds for LA. That's going to be a blow they might not recover from, I think. Sean Roberts and Danny Brum leading the league in blocks. Steals per game, Sankey's from Sacramento. There's DeLea from Brooklyn. See, Brooklyn does play some defense. Let's see, who's leading the league in three-point percentage? B.J. Davis from San Antonio. Patrick Thomas. Nobody. Luton. This Commodores still have him. All right, we haven't checked out the Insights tab in a long time. Let's see. Brooklyn leading the league in points at 115.7. Portland, the top rebounding team at 48.1. Chicago, the best defensive team, 94.9. OKC, best offense. Chicago, best defense. That's looking like what it's going to come down to. Yeah. Memphis was after Puckett. Unfortunately, for anybody who doesn't, everybody in the league knows I've kind of been fighting some illness the past couple of weeks that's really knocked me out, and I had planned on trading Puckett possibly, and was considering a deal with Memphis, but I couldn't get myself up to get around to it. So it's one of those things where real life just kind of got in the way of sim life here. Check around the standings before we sign off for the night. Chicago, obviously, still on the top, but trailing OKC, as OKC still is single-digit losses, with only 9 on the season. Toronto, Washington, Boston, and Philly. That's almost deadlocked now. Just a half game separates those two. Brooklyn, Milwaukee, and Atlanta. Atlanta is only a half game ahead of Miami, so Miami is not going quietly there. Detroit, possibly still outside chance, but probably not very good there. Chance, I think, for New Orleans, Utah, and Portland to move up significantly here with that injury to Gray. Just like Boston started falling down if they lost Stackhouse. LA definitely could drop a couple spots. They won't drop out of the playoff race, but they could drop a couple of spots and give up home court at least. And that'd be interesting right now, actually. If it was LA versus Portland right now, the 3-6, I think I would take Portland. I think I'd take Portland in that matchup. Houston has moved into 7th because Memphis is 2-8 in their last 10. Still no reason to panic, I don't think. Minnesota's still 3 games back there, Memphis, but might want a couple of wins on the next stream. Might want a couple of wins. And I think San Antonio on down is out. Charlotte, the worst right now with 13. Indiana and Sacramento next with 17. Looking forward towards the lottery. So, thanks everybody for coming out tonight on Friday. I appreciate that. I appreciate everybody kind of being understanding with me as we kind of had to move the sim times around this week due to me. We'll be back next Wednesday as we head into the final month of our regular season here. We'll finish up the month of March next week, and we'll really have a good, clear picture, I think, of the playoffs heading into the final 2 weeks of the regular season after that. So thanks everybody for coming out tonight and enjoying the stream. Also remind you that if you haven't updated, we had an update for Pro Basketball 21 and an update for College Basketball 21. Those are posted in the forums or on Steam. They'll update automatically for you, so make sure you get the latest versions of those. And if you haven't grabbed Draft Day Sports College Basketball 2021, for anybody out there watching the stream right now, I can't tell you there's possibly a better time to get that, because you're going to want it next Sunday, Selection Sunday. Of course, the tournament kicks off next week, and as soon as you hit that button on Thursday afternoon to start watching those first games, or maybe even if you're watching the first four before that, you're going to get that itch for college basketball. So just do yourself a favor and pick it up now, because you're not going to resist that game. Everybody loves college hoops at this time of the year, and Draft Day Sports College Basketball 2021 is the best college basketball game that is out there. So that's my plug tonight. Thank you to our followers. Thank you to our subs. Thank you to our league members who jumbled your schedules around this week to be with us tonight. We had a great stream, and we'll be back next week. Have a great weekend, everybody, and get ready for the big tournament starting next week. See you, everyone.